Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, we are going to be quite concerned about a movie that recently came out. Depending on the time that you're listening to this message, don't worry, darling. More like a command. Not really about encouraging you, but making you feel some kind of way. Some of you all, you just looked at it as anything but a movie. But remember, when companies, entities, advertisers, and so forth are putting something before the masses, it isn't just a movie. Lots of dollars involved. Do you really think people just put a whole lot of money behind something without an agenda? So, of course, they want everybody who exposes foolishness to be name called. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're stupid. You're dumb. But we are not. And we are going to just talk about the things as the Lord leads us to in terms of what is man up to once again. Why does he have to, or she, why does she have to put something out that is so strange, bizarre, but at the same time, straightforward? The agenda. Well, we know that some individuals are quite fascinated with all things occult. They're fascinated with the celebrity world. Some individuals are part of the world. And so a movie like this to share what is happening or what people need to know, okay, seems good, seems righteous, seems wholesome until it isn't. Look, we have individuals that are a part of all sorts of groups, and in these groups there are agendas. There are things that they sit back and they talk about. Okay, whether it is something dealing with politics, social issues, the environment, your money, their money, assets, fame, fortune, scientific breakthroughs, whatever the topic of conversation, there is always the question, what are we going to do about it? Or how should we convey this to the public? Or what is it that we need to come up with in order for the public to go along with? Because that seems like an exceptional idea. I think that's something that is going to move mountains. I think that people really need to come up out of their shells and do something different. And after the pandemic and all of the destruction that came with that, well, now we've got to put some pieces back together again, and hopefully things can go back to what? Normal. Yeah, they want normal because you see, normal, whatever normal is to some individuals, normal brought in a lot of money. Normal brought in a type of mindset that was about working and just making sure that things got done. But then you start breaking away from the cult and you want to do your own thing. Oh, that's not what we wanted, because your own thing is costing us money. We want groupthink. We want people to get back to thinking as a whole. So we've got to name call individuals who, once again, challenge you to use your critical thinking skills. Those of you all who got to see the movie, wow, it reminded you of some previous movies if you've been on this planet long enough, right? Stepford Wives, Truman Show, Matrix. Wow. Lots of interesting things were in that movie. And for some of you all, you saw your life in some ways. Maybe not on a scale of, the wealthy, the elitists, and various agendas that they promote, but you saw it in your family, because we always come back to that on this channel. We talk about the spiritual family. We talk about the family, right? The biological family, the substitute family, the replacement family, the cult family. We talk about all sorts of families on this channel. So for some of you all, this may have been a trigger for you, and your brain kind of shut it all down a bit. I don't like the way I'm feeling. I don't want to receive this. Other people, oh, you saw some things and then you went into fantasy world. Yeah, it's just a movie. It's just a movie, and there's nothing here. There's nothing to see here. But there were plenty of things to see here. We are going into a direction once again of people trying to put the pieces of the puzzle back together again that they broke apart. That is costing lots of money. Lots of products are not being sold. Lots of people are still not working. And so they want to do some things that is going to create a number of issues for so many. Okay, because your mindset was that this is the way I want to live my life, and this is how I'm going to allocate my funds, and this is what I hope to accomplish. And I don't want to be a part of any systems or groups or have somebody telling me once again what I'm supposed to do with my life. Okay, good, bad, or otherwise. I just don't want you to put your mouth on my life. Okay. And so people heard, and people looked at their spreadsheets and they looked at, what's happening, and they didn't like it. When we look at the family and how this impacts the family, let's look at the movie for a moment. You've got people who are partying. Okay. Life is grand. People look good. The atmosphere looks good. Okay. The colors that they use. Bright, cheerful, vibrant. Everybody is happy. Okay. Isn't that what most of us want? Okay. We want that type of life. We want a happy life, a joyful life. Okay. If the scene opened up and it was a church scene and people were shouting and dancing and falling out in the spirit and having, smiles on their faces. Okay. And then outside of the church, everybody's driving in a nice car. And then you follow the cars to these really nice homes. Okay. For some people, that's a perfect life to them. A great life, a wonderful life. Everything is pretty and shiny. And that's what people want usually when they're trying to escape miserable lives. They want pretty, they want shiny. And at some point in the movie, and this is a spoiler type of audio, so if you haven't seen a movie, come back. Okay, come back. But later on in the movie, you see the reality, right? The reality is gloomy, it's dark, it's not pretty. People work, and it is what it is, right? They want to escape out of the rigmarole, the routine. Okay. Or at least one individual in the relationship wanted to do just that. The other one was perfectly content with the job, worked long hours, really didn't need a man. But this particular movie, right? You got the party and everything is great and wonderful and nice. At some point, you're going to meet a leader. Okay. Now, in the family, let's go back to the family for a moment. You meet a family member who is the alpha, who is the matriarch, who's the patriarch of a family. You may even be that, or you may call yourself that, but other people may argue about who is in fact the leader of the family. Whatever the case may be, the leader has an agenda, always has an agenda, has a personal thought process in terms of why everybody needs to come together. Whether it is, I need something from you, service, money, what have you. Or I just want everybody to come together because I haven't seen family in a while. Okay. Okay. So there are those, though, who have their reasons, their agendas. Why I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there because somebody owed me money. I'm going to be there because I'm sick of these people walking around here acting like it's a perfect world, perfect life when the users and abusers are in that event. And this is the year that I'm going to expose, says someone. This is the year that I'm no longer going to continue to pretend as if what I see is just perfect and wonderful when I know better. And sorry that I'm a bust up everybody's happy, joyful moment, which later in the movie, that sort of thing happens. But you need to know the truth. There's always that. Who is behind exposing? Oftentimes, if it is the truth that God himself gives us as believers, then it is a truth that's worth telling. It is a truth that somebody in that room needs to hear so that they can be free from the controlling leader or the bullies in the room. I no longer want to come to these events anyway. I'm so glad that you told me how she really feels about me. Oh, I couldn't stand talking to her. I'm glad that you let me know, because I realized that she was forming judgments about me all along. She really didn't care for me. The only reason why she was dealing with me was because there were titles between us. So thank you so much for that information. You see, this is how we came to the truth when it came to various family members over the years. We were like, wait a minute, there's something fishy in the atmosphere. You go to the one true God, God exposes, God shows you, and you're like, wow, this is big. This is big. No wonder I've been brainwashed. Come on, somebody. You can see it when it comes to cult groups out there. Oh, you can call this church a cult. You can call, the person who is a part of the MLM talking about how brainwashed they are. You can see it all over the place, but can you see it when it's happening to you? Did you see it in the movie? Absolutely. But did you see it when it's happening to you? At the workplace, on the home front, at the next family holiday event. So the party, happy, joyful, the occult leader, or the family leader, or whoever the leader is at the workplace, or what have you, has an agenda. Okay? When they put this movie together, the agenda, at the end of the day, there were many agendas, but one particular one that stood out to me was, oh, you want some people to get back out there to help you with servicing you at the checkout counter. Don't want to pay them too much of anything, but you want workers back at your very rich and prosperous businesses that are steadily losing money. And you want to get them for less than the amount that you wanted to, or that was originally talked about. Because some of these organizations out here, they are getting people in for a little bit of money because the folks are so desperate to get back to work. For some of them, because they lost so much money. So they'll be back. They'll be back. Yeah, they'll be glad to just have a job. We could pay them whatever. Okay? Some of them are just terrible about what they're doing. And some of you all, you got enough sense to see it. That's why you cut down on your spending. No, I don't need all of what the world tells me I need. I don't need the perfect whatever those items are. Okay? That once completed you, so you thought that don't complete you now. You see? Oh yeah, a lot of the advertising over the years. A lot of the advertising where you spent a lot of money. Then when all of this stuff went down, you reevaluated. You said, you know what? I don't need as much as I once did. I don't need to have the best, the greatest, the most, whatever. I don't need to impress the people next door or the people, within the family. At the next holiday event, everybody's getting cheap gifts. You don't like it? Tough. You see. Some of you all said that nobody's getting anything. I'm so over that. I gave. Look at my track record. Recognize all of the benefits that you got over the years and stop looking for more and more and more. Some of you all had to have that conversation with your children. So you look at the beautiful in the movie, right? You see the beauty. You see, the perfect world. Okay. That who's in control? The people at the top, the occult leaders. They tell you how you're supposed to feel about the agenda. They tell you what the rules are. They get you to commit, to agree, to be loyal, hopefully. Not short term, but long term. Let me tell you one particular book that I read years ago, and every now and again I refer back to it. It's Combating Cult Mind Control. It's by Stephen Hassan. Okay. And one thing that he talks about in chapter 5 about the cult psychology, which I thought was interesting, was when it comes down to recruiting individuals. and I just said this to one of my children, when it comes to the devil and the devil's agenda, he's looking for the best. He's looking for the greatest. He's looking for the creme de la creme, the one who you turned away from, the one true God, can't stand the people of God, don't want nothing to do with spirituality whatsoever, because you may even look at that as a cult, right? Okay, so then you're out there, you're left open season. Somebody wants to recruit you for something, whether it's the workplace, whether it is someone who has a business and they want you to be a partner, whatever the case may be. When you look at the movie, the marketing was there. The individual who was seated in front of his computer really didn't like the way, things were going in his life. Girlfriend is working, all hours of the day. He can't, get a break, can't even get a bit of intimacy, has his own little fantasies of what he would love to do, with her, to her, what have you, in that world, that reality. And then here comes someone or group who markets to him. Okay. There is a better world. There is a perfect world. There is something that we're trying to do. Do you want to be a part of it? Okay. Now, a lot of these different companies, groups, when they're hiring individuals or what have you, they're trying to weed out people who have emotional problems. This is why you get all these different questions. Okay. They're looking at your resume to see how long you've been with these other companies. All right. People with emotional problems, or who always had some kind of trouble handling a schedule, especially an intense schedule, okay? And they have their share of just issues when it comes to any type of psychological pressure put upon them. It takes way too much time, energy, money, okay, to recruit a person to be a part of a business, to be a part of even a family holiday event, trying to get them to, agree with, be a part of. Are you going to not come up with excuses to bail out? Are you going to be here on time? Am I going to have to chase you down, call you all the time to get you to do things for me? Okay. So, just as in the book, Hassan says, he says, it takes a lot of time and energy and money to recruit an indoctrinated member. So we tried not to waste our resources on someone who seemed liable to break down in less than a year. So, in the movie, they're trying to find some people who are committed, who are willing to, be a part of this project, We want you to be here. Anytime there is a new rollout of anything, and some of you all know, during the time when the pandemic took place, we want this perfect world where people aren't going to be getting sick as often as they were getting sick. Or those who refuse to get, their health matters dealt with. Well, we got to come up with a way to get them to conform, to go along with. If we get enough individuals to go along with, then hopefully we can bring some numbers down or what have you. You see? So, of sickness, illness, problems. So in this movie, we need you to be a part of. We need you to be a part of this perfect world. Now, only certain individuals are going to know about what's happening, what's really going on behind the scenes. Okay? But the rest of the individuals, you play a part. You're going to be emotional support because it's going to be intense. It's going to be stressful. You're going to be there to make sure that household is taken care of. You're going to be there to make sure that if there's children, that children are being taken care of. That's what you're going to do. Are you willing to be a part of? Are you willing to be whatever it is that the leadership wants you to do. And then you sign on a dotted line and you say yes. And so now let the games begin. All right. So when we're looking at what's happening here in this movie, you know, there's always the signs, the symbols, the colors that the occult groups put on any of their projects, so that there's the communication between groups to let people know who this is intended for, or who created this, or what the agenda is. So if you don't have a keen eye to pay attention to signs, symbols, and colors, you don't know. You don't even know what is happening here. Okay? Initiations in any groups, there's always some type of process. Okay? It kind of puts you in the mind of fraternities and sororities. Okay? When you're in a professional atmosphere, it is the series of tests that they put you through to see if you're trustworthy, if you're honest, if you're good. Sometimes in some of the secret societies, there's a shaming of sorts that goes on, you know. So this way, your mind is being programmed, being tested, that people around that are observing are being entertained, or being educated on, depending on whatever the task is or whatever they tell you to do. That you are capable, that you're willing, that you're able, that you're proving your worth. Okay? The controlling individuals, or the controlled group, there's a lot of control that goes on. Okay? The experiments that take place. Let's test them for this. Let's see if this works. Oh, that doesn't work. Let's come up with something different. You're always going to lose one or two or a few. There's always going to be collateral damage whenever there's a rollout of anything. Whenever there is a new group that's started, there's always someone who wants to leave. And we saw that. There's the fear that is used to control. The worries, the fears, the stresses, all of that arise sometimes as a result of just simple critical thinking skills. I'm asking questions. Some of you all saw when she was at the table, she was putting information out there for people to start questioning. I know that I'm not the only one who feels this way. I know that there are others that are like me out there. Let me poll. Let me ask you questions. There are those who abuse and use alcohol, drugs. There are those who they need to be medicated because they can't handle. So there's always a doctor that's out there that's willing to put you on some kind of pills so that you don't think beyond whatever the group wants you to think. She had to be reprogrammed because she was starting to stray away. She was starting to ask questions. She started noticing that things weren't adding up. You watch somebody go through a traumatic experience, or maybe you know them, maybe you don't know them, but you watch them go through a traumatic experience of some sort. There's a part of you that is going to start thinking in ways that you had never thought before. The death of a loved one creates all sorts of questions in your mind. Many deaths of people, whether you know them or not, creates questions. People were questioning. We got to use occult mentality, occult psychology, occult design in order to get everyone to stop asking questions. And no, we don't want you to protest. No, we don't want you to think anything but this is good for you. Because we got to get some things done. Okay? God is a good God. He's a righteous God. Okay? He is not to be played with. And when he opens up your mind, when he gives you solid truth, something to stand on, why are you putting your opinion on something? Why are you dismissing? Because your groupthink, your brainwashing told you to do that to the people who are exposing, for you to do it to your own self. No, it can't be. No, it couldn't be. No, I really want to believe that this didn't happen, that didn't happen. So then you get tired of seeing what's happening around you. You get tired of people gaslighting you. You get tired of people emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually abusing you, sexually taking advantage of you, pulling you into all sorts of sexual immorality and acts. You start to feel some kind of way. You have a conscience. Somebody says, take this, drink this, whatever. You throw that away. You snatch it out their hand. You step on it. You say, I don't want it. I need to think. Bible says we're to be sober-minded. I'm tired of people telling me not to say this, not to ask this question. I'm tired of people putting their information in front of me rather than me being able to get the type of information that's going to expose some things for what they really are. And then you get some individuals like the leader who says, okay, yes, this is going on. Yes, and what? What are you going to do about it? I like a little challenge. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Challenge me. Because I got some dirt on you. I saw you in my room. I got some things to shame you, to embarrass you. I got some things that will make you feel like, why did I even open up my mouth? Oh yeah, go ahead. Please. You see. And some of you all, you've been challenged on all fronts. And you've challenged others. Okay? Now, what happens when you are the type of individual that's being called out for being crazy, stupid, dumb, what have you? So what's going to happen is that they're going to say enough of that enough times to the point where if you're weak-minded, you're going to believe it about yourself. And now here comes the doctor with the pill. Okay? If you're strong-minded, you're going to reject the pill. You're going to say, no, I don't believe that what you're telling me, that is my issue. Instead, I believe that it's really this, that, and the other. Okay? Now, when we look at the movie, we see that there was the zealots, right? The ones who are just loyal and, they're going to spread the news about how great the organization is, how wonderful they are. They are also the individuals that, if any is willing to sit down long enough and think about what they signed up for, think about how they got involved with, and, what is being said or not being said. Some of them will start to rebel. But if the schedule is so busy and there's so many things that they're doing all at once, there's no time to think. There's no time to question. There's no time to research. And that's why some of these celebrities, if you will, they will fill up their schedules with all sorts of things that aren't even all that great or important, just because we don't want you to be out there running your mouth. We don't want you out there exposing secrets. We don't want to have to take you off this planet. And some individuals, that's what happened to them. I don't care what people say about, conspiracy or whatever else. Or, they were on drugs, or they were on, just a bunch of substances when they left out of here. And what was the driving force? Or who put it in their bloodstream? Or relapse. Okay, people have relapses. But why did they relapse? Driven to madness? Cancel them out? Okay. The sacrifices that the zealots make for the organization is tremendous. And in the movie, there were sacrifices made. These people, they gave up their lives to be a part of an experiment. The sacrifices that were made, people lost babies. People wanted babies. Willing to take other, take other people's children. The brainwashing, the constant brainwashing of what you see isn't what you see, what you hear isn't what you hear. Okay? All right, you've seen too much. You've experienced too much. Now we've got to do something about your breakdown. Yeah, it's a mental breakdown because you're asking too many questions. Yeah. We got to do something about that. And so there's all sorts of systems and processes in place. That to the world, oh, you just went to the doctors. You just had a routine appointment. But behind the scenes, somebody is having all sorts of electric shock therapy and so forth, and mind controls and hypnosis, and taking all sorts of medicines and so forth to get them back right. We went too far. Oh, had a nervous breakdown, mental breakdown. And then too many of these, and then you're canceled altogether. It's over with. It's done away with. This is why some family members ended up going off into various facilities. Other family members ended up going 6 feet deep into their grave. You pushed that person way too far, to the brink of they basically did a number of things to prematurely take themselves out of here. Okay? There's an evil in controlling individuals. When I was looking up some research about one particular mindset, the ones who don't, back when we were all children who didn't mind killing pets, okay, or just killing just random animals and stuff. There's a weird psychology with individuals that never did get any type of treatment for that type of thing. Didn't consider it to be nothing more than I was just doing what I was told to do, or it was just something that I did in the meantime, or what have you. You see. Oh, I tell you, the endless distractions, right? When the truth is cutting, when the truth hits home for some individuals, you know the demonic has a way of trying to create all sorts of issues, problems, all sorts of landscaping is going on right now, but I'm going to press forward. So the elitist mentality, according to combating cult mind control, is members are made to feel part of an elite core of mankind. This feeling of being special, of participating in the most important acts in human history with a vanguard of committed believers, is strong emotional glue to keep people sacrificing and working hard. As a community, they feel they have been chosen by God, history, or some other supernatural force to lead mankind out of darkness into a new age of enlightenment. Cult members have a great sense not only of mission, but of their special place in history. They will be recognized for their greatness for generations to come. Now, it's very easy for people to point the finger at religion, right? Or people of faith, or what have you, because that is a great distraction. Okay, we know it to be true. There are those cult religions and cult groups or what have you. But let's put our eyes back on the elitist social groups, occultic groups, civic associations, fraternal groups, okay, who they recruit, they come up with their share of information to keep people excited about whatever the agenda, and they keep pushing and pushing and pushing agendas. Okay? For what? What is the plan? To ultimately get what they want at the top. To get a whole nation, to get a whole world to think in the way that they want them to think. And some of the tools involve music, movies, athleticism, many tools, print, internet websites, And you thought you had your own mind. They want to know where you are at all times. Oh, okay. I see you posted. So, therefore, you've been active. You're still very much alive. They got people to shop different websites to find out, oh, if you're not at this particular website, you got to be at one of the big 3 or 5 or, whatever the amount of popular websites are, depending on the time of this message. And so they'll look for you over here. They'll look for you over there. They'll check your posts to see if the brainwashing is working well. It's a terrible but yet funny thing. It's funny because once you see it for what it really is, then you fight back. And then the joke's on others. It's not on you. It's on them. You say, oh, you thought I was dumb enough to do that? Get out of here. You thought I was stupid enough to put every itty bitty thing about who I am and what I'm doing. Really? But there are a lot of people that they know that they don't think deeply. They don't ask questions. They put all of their workplaces out there in cyber world, in internet world. They put everything under the sun, including their deepest, darkest thoughts. Okay? Members of cults who are part of these elitist groups, they look down. They look down on you. They look down on us. Oh, say something wrong in the way you speak. Oh, low intelligence. Don't have as much money as others, or you do different things with your money that don't look like the wealthy. Oh, you must be dumb. You must be stupid. You must be ignorant. Never visited some of the places that they've gone to. Oh, may have had some, low-end job, so to speak, according to how they feel about them. Oh, you must not be very bright. I have one particular relative who refers to some people as having very low IQs. And I thought, this is new. He's been saying it multiple times. And I'm saying, okay, so that is how you describe individuals who just don't communicate effectively, who have a lot of issues, who tend not to follow instructions. So you say that they have low IQs. Interesting. Not a judgment, it's just how he describes people who he can't seem to talk to. Okay? They're not very good about following instructions. Educated versus uneducated. Things like that. So, I'm watching though, because if this is going to turn into something that grows dark, grows evil, where we're going to start taking advantage of the uneducated or the low IQ, we're going to have a problem. You see what I mean? I don't like that. I don't like to sit in circles where people are taking advantage of people. And that's why one particular company, when I started noticing that they thought that the workers had low IQs, they thought that the people who were on the phone had low IQs, uneducated, what have you. Okay, fine. But then you turn it around and you're telling us to say this and do that. And I know that you're telling us to do these things because you want to take advantage of them, ultimately to get what? Their dollars. I see what you're doing. I don't like it. If somebody wants to give me something because they value what I'm saying, they're tipping me. Okay, great. But I'm not going to manipulate things, tools, or do all sorts of weird things to swindle people, to take from them. And so I didn't make for a very good employee. You see, when these sudden opportunities show up that seem to be too good to be true, and sometimes what's happening is that they're testing your mindset. They're getting an idea of who you are and whether or not you're going to be good for the establishment. It's all by design. You didn't take any interest in me all these years, so why suddenly are you taking interest in me now? Oh, because you're desperate for good workers. You're desperate for, people who are going to stick around for a while. We've already checked and we saw that you owe a lot of money, and so therefore we're going to, help you out if you help us out. The rank and file member is humble before superiors and potential recruits, but arrogant to outsiders. Let me say that again. Straight out of the book, Combating Cult Mind Control. The rank and file member is humble before superiors and potential recruits, but arrogant to outsiders. Almost all members are told when being recruited that they too will become leaders one day. And that's what happened in the movie. He was going to be a leader one day. That's what he was striving for. That's what he wanted. And he didn't want his wife to mess it up by learning too much. That's why he was very guarded about what he said to her. Whereas another husband wasn't so guarded. And his wife had a mental breakdown. She went off and she started exploring. Okay? Almost all members are told when being recruited that they too will become leaders one day. However, advancement will be achieved only by outstanding performance. Outstanding performance. Perform. Be the best at. Be the top dog. Are you sure you want to be the top dog? All eyes on you. Take the ball and roll with it. What goes up, though, comes down sooner or later. How did you get up there? How did you attain your fame, your fortune? How do you maintain it? Taking advantage of the low IQ, the uneducated? Almost all members are told when being recruited that they too will become leaders one day. However, advancement will be achieved. I keep repeating it for what? For what reason? Because it needs to resonate with you. It's happening at your workplace. For others, it's happening at your family events. Somebody wants to be the leader one day. Somebody wants to take on everything one day. I want it all. But can you handle it all? Advancement will be achieved only by outstanding performance or by political appointment. In the end, of course, the real power elite stays small. Most members do not become leaders but stay among the rank and file. We got rank and file family members. We are the black sheep. We are the ones that God told us a long time ago what our position was in families. That's why it was no surprise when people who said they were going to do for us did not do for us. When they told us that they didn't want books, they didn't want us to talk about them and all that. Why? Why would you be so concerned about that? Because you knew that you were taken advantage of. That's why some of these individuals, they knew they were taking advantage of people. And they thought that people were just so stupid and so gullible and so naive not to see through. I put out the blueprint on what some of the mothers back in the day were doing and who are still doing the same thing. The same thing. They are the leaders, the controlling leaders, some of them. They are the Stepford wives. They were recruited by controlling individuals. And therefore, they took their power and control and they learned from that. And then they did what? They put it upon their children. You got that right. They put it upon their children. Some of you all are in it now. She has the perfect face, the wonderful atmosphere. Everybody loves her. She knows certain things that other people don't know. You just serve your role. That's what you do. And don't ask questions. Oh, you're asking questions. You're pushing back on, oh, dear mother. Now there's an agenda. Except it's a different type of agenda for the one who's rebellious. We're going to handle this one in a different way. I told one particular individual, I said, that boy right there, he's going to be smarter. He's going to be nicer looking. He's going to know more things. He's going to go further in life. He's going to make more money. A controlling father don't want to hear that. A narcissistic father doesn't want to hear that. A narcissistic leader doesn't want to hear that his recruit is going to be better than him. He wants him to be an assistant. Over my dead body, he'll take this role, or over my dead body, he'll run this entire organization. Not right now. I'm not ready for all of that. We got to keep him under thumb. We went through the movie. I guess I did it in a very discreet sort of way. That way it didn't give out too many spoilers for those individuals who do want to still see the movie. By taking on what is happening right now in reality. Agendas, leaders, signs, symbols, and colors, initiations, control groups, controlling behavior, experiments, fear, certain group members wanting to leave, being name called, abused, used, because they want to leave. Some of them being told they're wonderful, they're great, and they're in control of their own destiny so that they won't leave. No, there's nothing to see here. Everything's great. It's wonderful. Don't you worry. The zealots who continue to spread that everything is fine, everything is good. Don't worry. Don't worry. If they have to tell you don't worry, that's all the more reason why you should be very concerned. There's certain scriptures in the Bible they'll pull out and abuse you with them, control you with them, so that you don't ask questions. The rebellious, there's sacrifices to be made. You said you were going to be loyal. You broke down. We got to give you new programming. Get you back on track again. And then you keep breaking down. We got to blackball you. You're out the family. You're out the group. You don't know how to keep your mouth shut. You don't know how to toe the line. You're not getting anything from us. Who said I ever wanted anything from you but love? And you couldn't even do that. So I put you in God's hands. And time again. This is what has had to take place. And for some of you all, you just didn't understand. You didn't know why. Why is it that certain family members and friends are going through and suffering like they are? Because you did not know that God had his agenda. We talked a lot on various audios, including this one, about man's agenda. But God's agenda is one that he does not reveal. Which way he's coming, which way he's going. You may get a glimpse every now and again of a few things, but you never get the full blueprint. Because God knows man, and he knows woman, and he knows what you're going to do when you get his information. You're going to use it to control more people. Right? You know some people who that's just what they did. They got a hold of the word of God, and they used it in such a way to abuse and use. There were other people who got a little bit of the word of God, didn't really read it for themselves, listened to other people, regurgitated what they heard, and thought that they were to take holy scripture and apply it to their sinful lifestyle, to their wayward beliefs. You cannot take a holy scripture, put it on a pig, decorate that pig with diamonds, and think that there's not going to be consequences. There will be consequences. And there continues to be consequences for people doing what they're doing to our world. Their families are suffering as a result. Their assets, as I told you earlier in this audio, they're losing money. They didn't want to have to need the low IQ or uneducated or the person who doesn't make as much money. They never wanted to be put in that position to need any of us average, plain speaking people. But their corporations are suffering, and that's why they reach out and want people that are average. I wanted above average, but I guess I'll settle for average. Because above average, they're going to ask a bunch of questions and they eventually rebel. So I guess I'll settle for average. And then I'll just play into what their needs are. And then that'll be that. And there you have it. That's how they do things. So now that your mind is blown, and some of you all who want to go see the movie, and you'll see all the occult symbolism and so forth in it, their little stamp of approval on that foolishness. By all means, I hope and pray that some of you all don't get led like sheep to the slaughter for the next rollouts. And there will be many, and they're hitting you all at once. Stay above water. Stay above water. I thank you as always for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, and we do welcome giving on this channel. Thank you.